So there is this wonderful declaration of faith that's found in the book of Deuteronomy. It's a central part of the Jewish culture. And it's like a central prayer, this affirmation of the Jewish people and their claim on who God was and who God was claiming God's self to be to the people of Israel. Most likely, this was a prayer that Jesus would have been taught when he was just a small child, because really it was something that the adults would proclaim in worship, that they would proclaim around their house, and children would most likely have learned this from early on. What it's called now is, we call it the Shama. And some of you may have heard that term before, the Shama. Literally, the Shama means to listen or to hear. But it's not a passive listening. This Shema, this statement of faith, is not a passive listening, because it also carries with it this connotation of therefore obey. So it's hear and obey this statement that has been the platform, the foundation of belief. Most of it, or the bulk of it, goes like this: Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart and with all of your soul and with all of your strength. Does that sound familiar? Actually, the Shema, or at least this portion of the Shema, was what Jesus said when he was asked, what is the greatest commandment? And he basically said, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind. It was essentially that part of the Shema that Jesus was proclaiming. He added then, of course, another passage that was from Leviticus, where he added, and your neighbor as yourself. But anyway, this whole piece of scripture was so important that where it appears in the Pentateuch, or the first 5 books of the Bible, what we know as Deuteronomy, that portion of these first 5 books of the Bible known as Deuteronomy, it not only announces the Shema, this statement of faith, but it also gives further instruction. So it goes like this, beginning in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord alone. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Then it says this: keep these words that I am commanding you today in your heart. Recite them to your children and talk about them when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as signs on your hand, fix them as emblems on your forehead, and write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Now, that extra instruction was to not only just proclaim and obey this, but actually wear it, hold on to it. This defines who you are. This defines who God is and your relationship with God. And, the Jews at that point took this literally. In fact, still today, many of them take this literally, especially this part about wear them as emblems on your arm or on your forehead. And you may see these things. These little containers that were built, and observant Jews may wear these around to remind them of this command, this idea that God alone is Lord, and we need to love that God with all of our being. Now, the reason I'm sitting where I am is because this has been VBS week. And this sanctuary has been filled with song and music as we've been enjoying this beautiful set and this idea of this observing the North Star and the Northern Lights and all that has encompassed this VBS theme this year. But really what we are doing is we are doing our version of what we're told to do in Deuteronomy chapter 6. When it talks about loving the Lord your God with all of your being, when it talks about, hear, O Israel, the Lord is one, and it says, teach these things to your children. Essentially, that's what we're doing. Whenever we have Sunday school or VBS, this is our way of passing on this ancient call to proclaim God as Lord of all and to embrace God and love God with all of our being. So you know what? When the kids come into this building and they enjoy all the excitement of Vacation Bible School and they enjoy the sets that have been set up and all the things that are going on the one hand, what they are doing is having fun. But deep down what they are doing, they are embracing this very ancient Jewish tradition of claiming God as our own and loving God with all of our being.